This is how we create a double exposure in Photoshop with two separate images. First, you go to File and Place Embedded. You're going to need to place your foreground image. In this case, I'm using Elephant Practice. Here's my Elephant Practice image. Press Enter. You'll notice that it makes a new layer right here with my foreground image. After you've made your foreground image, you're going to need to add another layer. And with this layer, I'd recommend bringing it down between the Elephant Practice image, your image that you just placed, and between your background. And in this layer, I would fill it with a color. For example, here's a gray, a tannish gray. Use the left arrow right here to switch to the tan. Use your paint bucket tool to paint in the background. This helps identify solids whenever it comes to your double exposure, and it helps for editing, making smoother lines in the end. Next, you select your Elephant Practice or your image. After you have selected your image, you use your magic wand tool and click in the background. You'll see ants marching one by one. That means the background is selected if you see them on the frame. And I'm going to do Shift and select these small gaps right here as well. After I've selected these, I'm going up to Select and Inverse. Now that I have my Select Inverse, we're looking at this elephant now. And with this elephant right here selected, you can see the ants just marching around the elephant and just the top edge right here. Once this is selected, we're able to make a layer mask. So come down here in the Layers panel, Layers, and this is our new mask, our layer mask. I click it one time and you'll see a black frame and a white elephant. Then we're going to add another layer. And before I add anything else, I'm going to change the names of these layers so I can distinguish between all of them. This is going to be my color fill. This is my Elephant Practice, and this is my background image. Whenever you place your new image here, it will probably more than likely change the name of that layer. Next, you go to File and Place Embedded. And this is where you place your image that you would like to be as a double exposure. So I place, and you'll see I have a sun. I can use these handles and resize the image. If you press and hold if you press and hold Shift, you can resize it proportionally, which is a nice little feature. I am resizing it proportionally. That looks nice. I'll make sure to center it so we have some animals in it as well. I'll make it a little bit larger, stretch it out so we can see some of those animals. And you can press Enter. You'll see that my sunset layer is selected. It's hiding my elephant right now. What we're going to do is press Control and hold on the keyboard. Hold the Control button and click on this layer mask that we just created in the Elephant Practice. This will show us the ants marching one by one. It means, hey, this clipping mask is selected. After that, you come down here to the new layer mask and you click on New Layer Mask. You'll see here that you have the silhouette of the elephant, and you'll notice up here I have a small line. I'm not going to worry about that. And then we have our sunset with our layer mask, we have our Elephant Practice with our layer mask, and we have our color fill with no layer mask. If you click on the sunset and you go to opacity, you can change the opacity of the sunset so you can see the elephant a little more. If you click on the color fill, you can use your paint tool, your brush tool right here, and for example, I'll switch it over to a white and I'll change it to a soft round brush because it makes it look a little nicer. And you can come around the outside edge with this soft round brush and make a nice profile so the elephant stands out a little more. Now the elephant stands out a little more, looks a little more appealing. You can change the blending mode on each of these layers if you'd like. For example, here's my blending mode on my elephant. Here's a difference. Here's a hard mix, a pin light. I'll choose a vivid. No, I don't like the vivid. I'll choose a pin light. That looks nice enough. No, linear light. Here's the pin light. You can do the same concept with your sunset. You can also edit the sunset layer. If you'll notice I have a circle with a line through it, I can click on that and rasterize it by clicking OK. If I use my brush tool, I can come in again and you'll see my erase goes right around the edge of it. My white, I can change that again by erasing it and doing Control-Alt-Z. I can change my opacity of this. I can change my brush size of this with my opacity. Here's my brush. I'll do Control-Alt-Z and I'll change the size of my brush head on my eraser. Right now it's on hard brush. I can do a soft round brush. And I can come in around these edges and clean up these edges to make the edge of the elephant stand out a little more. Since I do have a lighter opacity, it helps with a little more detail on the elephant. So if I want the tusks and the trunk to stand out a little more, I can erase some of that background, the sunset features, so the elephant tusks stand out a little more. And there you have a double exposure.